Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this week's class. Our lesson today is population study. It is your unit 4, lesson 2 of your textbook at page number 154 to 157. Lesson objectives for today are that you must be able to learn about different types of migrations and the reasons why people migrate. You must be able to use maps and case studies to learn more about international patterns of migration, and you must be able to learn about urbanization and the growth of cities around the world. Today, our first topic of discussion is human migration. Throughout the history, humans have been migrating from place to place for different reasons. These reasons include for the sake of trade, for the sake of exploration, in search of food, to avoid harsh climate, for the sake of safety, or for the sake of work. So the movement of people for these reasons that I have just explained is called migration. Human migration has two types. One is temporary migration and the other one is permanent migration. Whenever the migration is for a certain period of time and the migrating person has planned to come back to his original place, the migration will remain temporary migration, no doubt, even if the migration is for more than 10 years, because the purpose of the migration is to go to some point or to some area for a certain reason and then come back. For example, the people who come and the people who go in different countries for the sake of work. For example, in Saudi Arabia, the contract workers that come from different countries, they stay here for long periods of time, but ultimately they go back to their countries. So although they stay here for longer times, but their migration remains a temporary migration, even though they have their families with them, but because they came here for the sake of work, and at the end of their working period they will go back to their countries. So no matter how long they stay here, their migration will remain temporary migration. Permanent migration, on the other hand, is a type of migration where people move from one area to another area in order to settle down into the new area or into the area where they are intending to go. So that kind of migration is permanent migration. There are so many reasons of the human migration. Not only humans, but even animals also migrate, birds also migrate. So humans, they have different reasons of migration. For example, animals and birds, they migrate due to climatic conditions in search of food. You can say seasonal migration. For example, in the hot areas, when the summer comes, they migrate to areas where the climate is uh, temperate or where the climate is in mild condition. Similarly, from the severe cold areas where the winter is extreme cold, the birds and animals, they migrate to the areas where the climate conditions is mild or normal. But humans, they have varied reasons of migration. They are included for work, for job, uh, for food, for health conditions, for permanent migration, for family reunions, for exploration, different reasons. But human migrations, the reasons of the human migrations are actually divided into two main groups. They are called push and pull factors. Push factors are the reasons that actually force the people to migrate from one area to another area. The push factors are that force the people to leave an area, whereas the pull factors are the reasons that attract the people from other countries to come into a certain area. So push factors are forcing the people to leave, and pull factors are the factors that invite the people to come. These are the two major types of reasons that people migrate from one area to another area. This is the slide that actually discusses about what are the push and pull factors. Push factors are, for example, the reasons that force the people to leave an area. For example, natural disasters like a tsunami, like a flood, like a volcanic eruption, different reasons. For example, an area is experiencing a period of no rains, which is called drought. So the people, they then ultimately they migrate to different areas where the conditions are suitable for a peaceful, healthy, and safe life. Similarly, wars, conflict, and persecution. Persecution mean when somebody is being persecuted or punished or threatened to be killed. For example, the people of Syria, for example, they migrate from their country due to the threat of persecution. They believe that the other group may kill them for certain reasons, or even if there is no war in the country, still some people or some groups they migrate from their country due to the threat of persecution. For example, people from Iraq they migrated from the country after the war. They believe that the other ethnic groups will take over the power in the country and then they will be subject to persecution. So these are the reasons that people leave the country. Similarly, economic conditions are also a contribution that actually force the people to leave and to find the places, suitable places in other areas for having better income opportunities. So no employment in a country is actually forcing the people to leave this country and to find out a job into another country and migrate there. Lack of educational resources or educational institutions, social services are also the causes that people they finally try to find out the other suitable areas where they can find better education and better social services for their family members. Basically, education is one of the most important factor that forces the people to migrate to another area because parents they actually are too much concerned about the education of their kids. So if a country doesn't offer good educational institutions, parents they ultimately decide to move to another area. Similarly, social problems such as too much crowd or overcrowding in a community, too many people living in area, the locality that you are living is noisy, people are not friendly, uh, the crime rates in the street. So these are different social causes that ultimately force the people to migrate to different areas. On the contrary, the pull factors are the factors that actually attract the people to come to an area and settle down there. These factors actually range from climatic conditions to peaceful society, to employment opportunities, to better educational facilities, healthcare and other social services, and your relatives, your family connections with the and within the society. It is easy for you to settle there where your relatives, your friends are already settled there. And similarly, the good conditions of housing and other land resources are also one of the reasons that actually attract the people. The most important of all these is the peaceful society. Human actually they are too much concerned about the peace to their family and to their personal life. So wherever they find peace, they prefer to move to that area. So these are some of the push and pull factors. I hope you understand. The lesson is long actually, but it is divided into 2 weeks. Next week we are going to discuss some other topics within the lesson. So this week we are only discussing that what are different causes of migration and what are different types of migration. Inshallah, next week we will come back with the second portion of the lesson. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.